How are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay. I have been sick all week
Oh no.
and I have no voice.
Well, I'll do all the talking, so no worries there.
I am going to let people in and warn them and hand it over to
Okay,
to just do the whole thing.
I
So,
got you. I got you.
okay. We have about um 8 people in the waiting room. They
Yeah.
may trickle in. So if you want to just wait till like 7:05, and that's when we usually start up. And
Okay. Yeah.
I'll do the introductions, and
Mhm.
um my partner will come in at some point also. She will put a link to a form in the Google chat, in the Zoom chat, sorry, for people to fill out for their CTLE credits that
Okay.
if they need it. I thought
Yep.
I'd make that announcement, because we don't wanna put it in too early, so I like to
Yeah.
have her put the link in at around 8:15, so they stick around
Yeah.
to the presentation, okay?
Perfect. Yep. I have a link too that they'll fill out so that they can get all those resources, but they're not getting it to the last slide. So we'll have
Perfect,
to sort those.
okay. Um,
Um,
do
is
you
it set
wanna,
up so that I can play a video as well? Is that going to be okay?
um, see if you can hit the share if you wanna try it out now? Do you see a share button that you can hit?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Ooh,
wanna
send
try,
request.
send the request and
Okay.
I'll allow it. And if you want to try it out right now before, make sure it works. So sorry, I'm just,
No, I feel terrible. I hope you feel better.
me too.
It's tough trying to teach when you have no voice. I have done it, and it's awful.
This is my second time with laryngitis, but
Oh,
it's a whole sinus infection this
yeah.
time too. So,
Oh,
is it sharing or
there we go. Okay. I think I need this one. I hope that's the one.
perfect?
All
I,
right.
s- I see a blue screen with the
Could,
logo. There you go.
could you hear it?
I don't hear anything yet.
You- Huh.
I don't hear anything.
All right. Let me look at my settings. Okay. That's what I was nervous about because my teammate said she had issues sharing a video too.
Is there an easy fix?
I'm looking to make sure my settings are set up right.
Okay.
Or share screen. Yeah, I feel like I should be fine. But you don't hear anything?
No,
Hi, my name is Kelly Lewis.
Oh,
I
you
I
am
do?
a,
hear it. Yes.
Great. Okay. I'm not going to touch anything. I'll stop sharing for now.
Okay. Hopefully it'll be fine when we reshare.
Also, thank you for letting me test that out. That was the one part I was like, this is going to work.
All right, let me let everybody in. And while you're going, I will monitor whoever's coming in and out and any questions so that you don't have to like be everywhere. Um,
Thank you.
so if you hear me croaking, that's just me trying to interrupt with a question that's
Yeah,
in the chat.
all good.
All right. Hi, everyone. We're just gonna wait a couple more minutes. If you can hear me, thank goodness. I have not been well this week, so forgive my voice. I'm very croaky. And I will try to speak as little as possible and let Betsy do most of it. I'm gonna give it another minute and then I'll do the quick intro and hand everything over to Betsy. Hope everyone is having a good week, a better week than I have had. Okay. Seems to have settled down. Okay, just so you guys know, Betsy is from the Art of Ed University and she's going to be doing a whole presentation with us today. She decided to also do a brief printmaking little activity with us, so she'll get into that with you in a little while. Also, those of you who need CTLE credits, we're going to post the link for all of that at about 8:15 in the chat so that you can fill out a form with my partner, Mary Beth, and she will send you all the information that you need for your credit or certificate or wherever you're from. Everybody has a different requirement, so she'll take care of that for you. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll try to get Betsy's attention while she's doing her presentation. And I guess that's it. Betsy, I'm gonna spotlight you for now. I know when you share your screen, um, it'll automatically go to you anyway. So there's your beautiful face. And you can go on ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Let me get my slides up. All right. Hoping that is the right one.
It just worked. We saw it. There it is.
Great. Okay. So thank you so much for that introduction, Stephanie. And I do hope that you take some time to rest and feel better. Let me, oh, you're not gonna let me. There we go. All right. So just a really quick intro about me. So my name is Betsy Komarchuk, and I am an enrollment specialist and student coach at the Art of Education University. I primarily work with degree-seeking applicants, so I help them navigate their goals and make sure that our degree is a great fit for them and where they're at in their careers and where they want to go. So I work with those applicants, and then I also work with continuing ed students. So those that are just taking maybe a course or a few courses with us for continuing education. And again, navigating their goals to make sure that those courses work for them. These students are often trying to seek like an MA plus, or they're maybe even starting with a course to then transfer into the program later. So I kind of help them navigate all that and get them situated, kind of working as like their advisor, but we call it a student coach because that's nice and warmly. Prior to my role at AOU, I was actually an art teacher for 8 years. And 7 of those years, I was an elementary art teacher. So, and then I had that last year doing high school, which I absolutely loved. So I know firsthand how wonderfully rewarding and busy your days are. Trust me, I get it. But I'm excited to share with you today our graduate course offerings, as well as give you a sneak peek into one of our studio courses so you can really see how that's going to work. All right, so let's get into it. So tonight we'll be beginning with a sampler from our studio course and kind of going through how that online studio course works, because I know that is a big question, so I'd love to answer that for you. And then, like Stephanie said, we'll leave a little bit of time to create together. No worries if you didn't come prepared with materials or you just don't have any in your house. No worries. I was a teacher. I know how to make accommodations. So we will still be able to brainstorm and create together and figure that out. And then I'm going to go through just a little bit more about AAU courses and the degree programs in case you are interested in pursuing this further. And I will leave a little bit of time at the end for a brief Q&A for anything I may have missed along the way or you're just curious about. All right, so one question I get almost daily in my position is, how does an online studio work? And as somebody who took in-person studios in their undergrad, I can really appreciate this question. So I'll start off by saying that our studios are a favorite amongst our students, and they can really appreciate the convenience of an online course, and the asynchronous aspect works really well for just where our students are at today. So, they're balancing busy schedules and they just don't have time to make a commute to actually go into a studio. Maybe it would be a great idea if they could, but they just can't make it happen. So they really appreciate that aspect of the course, as well as they see the value of our curriculum and that our studios are really designed for K through 12 art teachers. And again, I took in-person studios during my undergrad. I have a BFA, so they weren't exactly aligned with our education specifically. Ours are. So we'll get in a little bit more about how that works. But no matter what grade level you teach, you will be able to make meaningful connections to the material and create resources and lessons that you can use in your classroom. And it's also a great way to build up your own artistic skills and confidence in maybe a new or unfamiliar medium. So let's take a closer look at our studio printmaking course and kind of see what it would look like. So I wanted to start off by sharing some student examples. As you can see, there's a variety of techniques, subjects, styles portrayed, which is exactly what you could expect from our courses. They are meant to meet you where you're currently at in your teaching career, which is great. So here's a little bit more. All of our studios, or all of our courses, not just studios, they are tailored to art educators, and it allows them a little bit of choice and expression wherever it meets them and their needs. So we teach teachers around the world, so we know that we are dealing with all different types of state legislature and requirements. Then we're navigating all these different district requirements. Each art room is different and their budgets. Each student body is different, and we can accommodate all of those. And you can really curate your coursework so it makes sense for you and your students. So it's a really personable experience. So what will you learn specifically in a printmaking course? When you take a course, you'll learn all sorts of techniques, ideas, strategies that you can add to your teacher toolbox. Studio printmaking in particular, you can see all of these different types of printmaking that you would kind of dive deeper in. And you'll have the opportunity to explore all these different techniques and figure out ways to implement them into your classroom. A really nice aspect of our courses is that we do offer a lot of choice and variation. We'll get into a little bit more about that later, but students can really explore the media at their own level. So we have students that are taking our courses and they're trying to become our teachers, so maybe they're not super familiar with it yet, or we've got, teachers that have taught graphic design for years and years, and they haven't really dug into painting in a long time. Maybe they touched on it in their undergrad and it's been a long time. So we have various different levels of experience and we're able to accommodate those. And then we've got students that, maybe they know printmaking really well, but they want to just kind of perfect their practice. So they are still able to do that with our courses as well. So again, meant to meet you where you are currently at, which is really nice. We offer a wide array of studio courses. So that includes fibers, photography, watercolor, advanced 2D, graphic design, ceramics. These are just to name a few. And then All Studios provides that hands-on art making and understanding and the ability to relate it back to your teaching practice and implement it with your students. So in each course, not just our studio courses, but in each course, they all follow the exact same format, which is really nice because as soon as you take a course, even just your first week of the course, you know exactly what to expect week after week. So they'll all follow that same format. So you'll receive all of your weekly resources at the beginning of the week. So that'll look different each week, but typically if you're in a studio, you're going to see a lot of videos for demonstrations. You'll see podcasts, you'll see scholarly articles, as well as AOEU created resources. And they're all meant to kind of differentiate our learning, which is nice. You're not just sitting and reading on a screen all night long. You have a bunch of different ways to absorb the learning. On Wednesdays, you'll have a discussion board due. So you will post your response. It's going to be 2 or 3 questions that your instructor will post, and they'll be based off of those weekly resources and the content that you learned from that week. And to really start that conversation, you'll post them on your discussion board for your peers to look at. And then by Fridays, you'll have your peer response due. So you will respond to 2 or 3 of your peers' answers and really start that nice, productive conversation. This is the part of the studio or the courses that I personally love because you're connecting with art teachers, literally throughout the globe. It's a really unique experience that, oftentimes our teachers are on an island and we need to connect with others. This is a great way to kind of build up that community and support system that you may be lacking. Finally, on Sundays, you'll have your assignment due. So assignments will vary from week to week and course to course, but oftentimes they're going to look like a teaching tool or a resource or a lesson plan that you can, again, use in your classroom right away. So it's very relevant. You're not just writing endless amounts of papers, but they're actually meant to be something that maybe you're creating anyway, and you can now get credit for. So it's just a really nice aspect of the courses so that they are relevant and you're not just doing all this busy work, but it's actually something that you can use in your classroom right away. So some sample resources that I'm excited to provide to you tonight. You'll be able to download these as well as a few others that I've kind of gathered for the course as a little sampler. So these are just a few examples of what you could expect from the course. So as you can see, these are things that not only you could use as an artist, but there are also things that you can print off and use in your classroom and even pass out to your students to have them kind of teach themselves and maybe use for reference as well. So it's a really nice aspect of the course that I love. So I have, as part of the resources, I actually have a video demonstration that I'd like to share with you. This is one that is shared in our printmaking course. So just about 6 minutes long. So we'll take some time to watch that and get inspired before we take time to create. So let's hope it works just fine. I'm going to navigate here. Okay, please let me know if we can't hear this.
I am an artist and educator. I am an artist and educator and currently teach high school in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. In this video, we will go over the basics of alternative and repeat printmaking techniques. When it comes to alternative printmaking methods, there is an incredible amount of creative, diverse methods out there. I will go over as many as I can in this short video, but please know that this list is not comprehensive. Artists are creating interesting new ways to printmake all the time. We see repeat prints in fine art, textiles, wallpaper, decor, and many more places. Let's start by learning about repeat printmaking by looking at linoleum relief prints. Repeat printmaking is defined as forms of printmaking that fall outside of the traditional printmaking process, where typically the initial goal is the final resolved prints and are only done once or twice in a single image. In repeat printing, the printing blocker plate is used repeatedly, similar to stamping. Because line-cut relief prints are easily made and printed, they may be a great choice for many applications. Line-cut prints are relief prints carved with line-cut tools into a linoleum block. Once the block is carved, you can print as many copies as you like. The basics of this process are drawing or transferring your design to the linoleum block, carefully carving away the negative areas, always cutting away from your body, then rolling up your block with ink and printing it. It is really important to note that your print will be a reverse of your image. So if there's any text or other elements, they will need to be carved in reverse to print properly. I have my students trace the size of their block onto a piece of paper, then create their design and rub the paper onto the linoleum to transfer the design. You can use your line-cut in many different patterns, such as grid, radial, or random. The nice part about this is when using it like a stamp, you can be intentional about where you place it. It is essential to re-ink your stamp every time you print if you want to keep a consistent brightness to your prints. Once your linoleum block is cut, you can get ready to print. Typically for my classes, we all work on the same size blocks, so I laminate a few registration marks to make printing in the center of the paper easier. Another option for this project is to use block fabric ink to let students create their own clothing designs, bandanas, tote bags, etc. You can print as many prints as your stamp will hold up for. I have pulled hundreds of prints from some of my line-cuts, and they still print as clearly as when I first made them. So now that we have a general idea of repeat printmaking, there are many simpler and cheaper ways to do this same method. When you use the line-cut blocks in this way, you can create really interesting and engaging repeating patterns. For example, you can take your stamp and create a grid pattern, much like the one you see here. And the wonderful part of this is that students can actually use the small stamps to press with their hands and immediately see the results, stacking them next to each other. You can do the same process using things like erasers as your linoleum and X-Acto knives to cut your design, or you can go the simplest of all and cut a potato in half and use a ceramic loop tool to carve your design. I will demo some other inks for you that you can use as well. For the eraser, I'll show you how you can use acrylic paints as your ink. For these prints, I'll use the eyeballing method of registering. Another option you can do for your students is to create a laminated piece of paper with a T-cross on it. And that way, when students put their paper in the middle, it'll be a really easy way for them to help find the general center of the paper. So now that we have our paper set up, I'm going to demo how to use acrylic paint to print on a carved eraser. So we have our print, and you can also use this very similarly to print a potato, which I don't have today. And another option for you too is you can repeat this print over and over and over again, using it very similarly to a stamp. Just as there are budget-friendly ways to experience repeat printing through things like erasers and potatoes, consider broadening opportunity of alternative printing methods with everyday found objects. This can include printing vegetables, Lego bricks, fork tines, bubble wrap, carved corks, string wrapped around blocks of wood, leaves, wood stumps, flowers, and so many more. Basically anything that has a relief pattern and that is relatively flat can be printed. You have lots of options when it comes to how you want to ink, from using a brayer to roll ink on your printmaking surface, dabbing your stamp in a thin layer of acrylic, or using an ink pad. You can mix and match colors and materials to make some highly effective artworks. You can even have students use their fingers and a stamp pad to create a pattern. stacking layer on layer to create a value range in your work of art, like so. Another simple way to create prints is by using decalcomania. This is just transferring a design from paper to another surface, but paper to paper is definitely the easiest, especially for your youngest printmakers. The way this works is you can basically put some paint on a separate piece of paper or one side of a piece of paper. And once you have your design planned, you can either take another piece of paper and lay it on top or fold it in half, applying pressure, and then peel your paper apart to reveal two mirror images. No matter what level of expertise you're presenting to, there are awesome and endlessly creative ways to tackle repeat printmaking through traditional and alternative methods.
There we go. Alrighty, so hopefully everybody enjoyed the video. I know from a personal standpoint, I can say about our demonstration videos, one thing I particularly enjoy is, when you're in these in-person studios, or even just any course in general, and you're taking notes, you don't oftentimes get the opportunity to go back and re-listen to something. So that's something another of the courses that is able to provide for you. So you can reference these videos later, even after you finish a course. The content is still available to you. So it is a really nice aspect when, I took graphic design earlier this year, and I had to play video quite a few times for me to understand something. And it was nice to be able to do that. And even now that I haven't practiced it in a while, I still have it to go back to. So just another really nice part that I enjoy. So I'd love to take some time and just kind of practice. Oh, yep. Go ahead, Steph.
I have a quick question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All of the courses that you guys offer, do we have to take? Let me think about how I want to phrase this. And again, I'm sorry about my voice.
Don't apologize.
Can I take an individual course, or does it have to be part of a degreed program?
Great question. You can take individual courses. So I would be working with you if you just wanted to come in and take a course or two for either your own education, or if you want to use it towards maybe a salary differential or even license renewal. We'll get more into the nitty-gritty about that later, but you absolutely can take these courses in all of our studios just as graduate credit without being enrolled in the degree program.
And are all the studio classes, everything is remote and virtual?
That's correct.
And is it at your own pace, or are the courses within a certain, like if you want it for credit,
Mhm.
is it a different pace than if you just want it for your own pleasure, per se?
Yeah, that's also a great question. So they're all going to be for graduate credit. So you will have to adhere to those due dates that I shared with earlier. So you'll have to stay on pace. But like I said, you'll have access to all this later. So if there's something you want to go back to, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the
Thank you.
question. Yes, alrighty. So, if you wouldn't mind finding some supplies to get started. So we won't spend a ton of time on this, but I thought it would be fun to just do a little bit and then share. I noticed all cameras are off, which is totally fine. Please feel free to use the chat and then turn your camera on at any point if you'd like to show your beautiful face and share what you're working on. We'll have an opportunity to do that as well. So from the video, you could see that this can be accommodate for any grade level with whatever tools that you have. So if you happen to have any printing tools, a small block, even a little potato or an eraser of your choice, something that they didn't bring up, but you absolutely could, is if you just had like objects that you wanted to print as well. It doesn't have to be something that you create, but the pattern that you actually make with that object, you can do that too. If you have any ink or acrylic paint that you want to use, and if you don't have any of this, at the very least, just go ahead and find a paper and pencil, and I'll show you kind of what I did. So I will give you a few minutes to gather your materials, and we will come back, in 3 minutes, and I'll just probably answer questions or chat a little bit while we're doing that, so you won't be missing anything too much. But go ahead, grab your materials, and we will get started.
I feel like we should put on the Jeopardy theme music or something.
No, I wish I came more prepared for that.
That's okay.
Yeah, 1, 2. Let's see. The studio always gets very, very bright this time of night, so hopefully it's not going to be this really awkward sunbeam just like highlighting my face.
No, you're fine.
All right, just to give some context of what I do have my sketchbook, I've got a pencil, I have my palette paper, because I will do a little bit of printing. I've got a sample lesson I'm going to share. I've got my brayer and my ink, and then I also have a little block that I already made a few days ago. So that's just what I have. But again, paper and pencil, totally fine. We'll kind of get into all of it, and hopefully I can give you some ideas even just from my own teacher toolbox that I've kind of accumulated over the years, which is not many, but I had a lot of ideas when I was in the classroom.
So you're not in the classroom anymore.
Not currently, no. It's my second year out of the classroom.
Do you miss it?
I do. I do. I really like what I'm doing now, but I miss those connections with students. And I had a really great experience with my high schoolers, and unfortunately they cut that position, which is why I'm no longer there. But yeah, I loved it.
I wonder how long it'll take me after I retire to miss it.
How many more years do you have?
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My dad just retired from 34 years teaching high school art. Um, and I think he's enjoying it still. It's been a year and a half, but there's definitely like moments he misses his students because he's been there forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could always go back and sub.
Yeah. Or
But
consult or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah, you have options for sure. All right. hope everybody had some time to gather some materials, and if not, just like I said, pencil and paper is just fine. Let me kind of recap what I have done with this type of printmaking, what you could do, and just kind of give you a plethora of information. So, and like I said, my background is mostly elementary, so that's where my mind goes for a lot of this, but it absolutely can be adapted to all grade levels. So immediately when I saw this video and I saw this content, my mind went to radial symmetry. I did a tile lesson for, I think, 5th grade at the time. Even if you're just teaching elements of art and you want to kind of dive deeper into some of those elements, you know, like line, shape, space, these are all great ones. And then tessellations, especially with the way that the edges connect on a little stamp that you create would be great. Or even just a design lesson. So you could incorporate ideas of graphic design, maybe do some wallpaper or fabric designs. I think that'd be really, really fun for students to kind of be tasked with. So I will say, here is a lesson that was a favorite of mine. I didn't repeat all my lessons, but this is one that I repeated because it was a good one. It was a goodie. So I did with 4th graders, I did these radial prints. So a couple ways that you can do this. Just a basic square piece of paper. I think mine is 9 by 9. And then start in the center. And then I used oil pastels to kind of go all the way around, and students could blend their oil pastels. The idea was radial symmetry. So we wanted to just make sure it went in that radial pattern. Yeah, go ahead.
Do we stop sharing so we can see your screen bigger?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good call out. Yes. Okay. I can restart if you like, but okay. So oil pastels in the center. If you don't want to use oil pastels, crayons would even be fine, or even watercolor. But I like something bright. I wanted the contrast to be there, so I used oil pastels. And then students just kind of practice making sure that things were really even all the way around. So my process for that, you want to get inside my head a little bit. I gave students a little practice sheet. This was kind of above and beyond, but I like to give them as many handouts as possible and print a lot of things, which probably my administration didn't love, but I did it anyway. So I just gave out 2 little squares. I only had 30 minutes with my students at a time. So like, I didn't have a ton of time to ideate. So 2 seemed to work really well, but you can always change that. I gave them ideas of different patterns and shapes that they could use, different types of lines. And then I just kind of went over how you start in maybe one corner and then kind of work your way out. And we could always add to all the corners, but we really wanted the main focus to be on that center, because that would be the one that actually circles around and creates your radial pattern. Then you can see my work in progress here. So you can see what that oil pastel looks like, just kind of like a tie-dye pattern almost. And then students would use a little piece of styrofoam, draw on it with a ballpoint pen, which I absolutely loved for this grade level, and then print it, and it worked really well. I had beautiful, beautiful designs that came out of this lesson. I just loved it. So again, that one's not AOU, that's just from Betsy's toolbox. So please enjoy if you do teach 4th grade. They loved it, but like I said, it could really be adjusted for any grade level. All right. Then here's what went through my mind as I watched the video for the first time and was really kind of diving in on how I would explore this. So like I said, if you have a paper and pencil, this is probably what I would do. So if you want to just draw out a simple shape that you would make your printing plate. So for me, I had this tiny little block that I just traced. If you have an eraser that you don't intend on carving, but you just want to get the size right, go ahead and trace that a few times and then just kind of explore different design ideas. And it really wasn't until I started actually coming up with my designs that I was like, oh wait, there is a lot of different ways to approach this. I mean, there's some designs that would create a little bit of an illusion of space. There's some designs, like I said in my last lesson, that would really give you that nice radial pattern. You could go more organic in your shape design or more geometric. So there's like a plethora of ideas. So I will be adding to my design. So please feel free to create while I talk. But that's what I'm going to be adding. And to kind of come up with another one, when I printed, so I did transfer my image. You can't really see it on the screen, but I did transfer my image. If you're not familiar with it, what you do is you put your block on top of your sketch, your design, flip it over. And while this is underneath, just color over it with a pencil and you will get it transferred. Just in case you didn't know, I learned that embarrassingly, so no shame. And then I printed, and as I printed, I was kind of pleasantly surprised what appeared. And like I said, this can teach a lot of different concepts and elements of art, space, and negative and positive space. So this was my initial image, so I'm gonna try printing it a different way and see what other images I come up with. I think if I were teaching this, I would have students maybe come up with 2 or 3 different designs. So they would have to print it like a number of times each to show that repetition. So maybe 4 times. It depends on what grade level you're teaching, but high school can obviously handle way more. But see what different types of designs happen. So for mine is not a symmetrical design. So different shapes are going to pop up the different ways I turn it, which is really interesting. And students can have fun playing around with that. So I would have them explore that. So I'm going to print this a different way and see what pops up. While I do that, I would love, let me see, if anybody wants to maybe add to the chat or come off mute, I would just love to know, what are some of your favorite printmaking projects that you've done? You've seen mine. I would love to kind of share that conversation and see what you've been doing in your classroom with printmaking.
Anybody?
Again, please feel free to share it in the chat. We will read those.
Angela says yours looks great. You could do a color theory lesson with it as well.
I love that. And thank you for the compliment, Angela. Yes, you can absolutely do color theory as well. I loved in the demo video how she showed the 2 different colors in the prints. I only had black ink, but yes, I love that idea.
I teach high school and we do all different kinds of, with the printmaking, all different kinds of color theory, and we kind of bring it into, and then this way, if the patterns don't work out so well with the kids and they don't get that quite right, it still works out as something that's successful if you do something with color or even on the colored background paper.
Yes. Oh, I love
Yep.
that too. I love that. Yes. Thank you for that idea.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, they do sell those neon,
Yeah,
like,
they've
rainbow pattern, like scrapbook paper, right?
Ooh,
Yeah, we've done in my school, we've done a whole series on all the studio. I happen to teach ceramics,
okay.
but I've done a number of printmaking lessons when I did teach studio, and they do all different. The teachers now, part of the printmaking process is incorporating color theory, and one kind of leads nicely into the other. But that's usually, I remember when I did it, I used to the students that weren't always that successful or that were maybe a little bit lower functioning,
Mhm.
even if you have just a basic simple kind of a design, if you
Yeah.
put something on fluorescent pink paper with black ink and you mat that, or even put some kind of a black background up against it, you're going to have, a really nice piece of artwork that they'll be proud of,
Yep,
regardless of
absolutely.
how advanced it might look.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the nice part. And again, I'm thinking elementary, but like if you do that type of thing with elementary and you bring out this beautiful bright paper, or it's really nice and colored, and you show this contrast with the black, they're gonna go, oh, like that's one of the aha moments they just absolutely love.
Yeah, they get very excited.
Yeah.
And then it looks nice on display too for an art show. If you put
That's
up
right.
all fluorescent, if you do a whole wall of printmaking and you have fluorescent color paper with black ink, it looks
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it really makes a statement.
Or even the reverse black paper with
Yep,
glow in the dark paint.
you could get really creative and put a black light on it. Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Ooh, yeah, little
Plug
black
that
light.
in at the bottom. Let's shine up on the artwork.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. What are some other printmaking lessons people have done? Or another question is, do you maybe not teach printmaking because it's something you're not super comfortable with, or you don't have, you feel like you don't have access to the materials, or your students maybe may not handle it well? I know it took me a while because, like I said, I had those 30-minute classes. And the first year, I don't think I did any printmaking because it was like, I don't know how to do it. I had no time in between classes. I had 6 classes just back to back to back. So the cleanup, the setup just wasn't going to happen. And not to mention, I taught the first year they did this and then they decided it was a bad idea. So thank goodness they got rid of it, because it was, all of the 5th grade. It was all of the kindergarten that you just see back to back. And while that's a nice thing for like planning purposes and just teaching, like you're in the groove, oh my gosh. I mean, if you're teaching 6, I think I actually had 7 classes of kindergarten back to back. It was chaotic. I was exhausted. Especially with like cleaning up prints and then trying to reset them up again. It was just really hard to do. Ooh, Sarah, what we got?
7
Ooh, I
back
love
to
that.
back with no break.
I know. It was tough.
That's crazy.
Okay, Sarah, I love this. Um, what did they use as like the printing surface? Was it like a um, piece of plastic or just laminate paper or?
For the monoprint lesson, we
Yeah.
had gel plates. So what we would do with the brayers is we would roll them out using acrylic, and then to get these white lines to SAR, students used a mixture of Q-tips, or even like they found like the handles of the brushes they experimented with to create some of the line art, and then they would put the paper down, use a clean brayer to like roll it out, and then peel it off.
Um, I love jelly plates. That's another thing for making that I forgot to mention. Those are great.
They
Uh,
are, they're really cute. I got a whole class set, after COVID. They told
Nice.
us, we got all this money and they're like, all right, what's on your wish list?
Uh-huh.
We'll buy you what you want. So they're sitting in the closet and I've been trying to figure out, because, the first few years after COVID, the kids came
Yeah.
back and they were so destructive that I didn't want to
Uh-huh.
do anything with
Uh-huh.
anything good. So I've been saving them and I've been considering using them this year. And I'm trying to figure out a really good project to do with
What grade do you teach, Steph?
high school. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, they can do so much. I mean, I did it with my 5th grade, which was a challenge, but they can do it. I didn't do mono prints like this, which it could have gone so well. I probably gave them
Image
too much attention.
transfers, like image
Yeah,
transfers.
yeah. And something that I did, I gave them a day to explore, and it was a huge mess, but high school can clean up after themselves. So that's the good news. I gave them a packet of just different techniques that they could kind of explore and show them different examples. And they just, I said, go. And they had a lot of fun. I mean, it was kind of chaotic, but they really had a good time with it.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I could see high schoolers really enjoying something like that and just like the freedom to just play.
The problem is we have very limited time. I don't know how much your time blocks were, but we have like
Mm.
43 and a half minutes. So by the time, you know, if you include the setup and the cleanup, you have like 25 working minutes.
That's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see them every day?
I see them every day. Yeah.
Okay, that makes it a little better. Yeah, I would try to have everything ready as much
Yeah.
as you can, and then
Well, you
just,
have to. Yeah,
yeah,
that part you have to have everything on the table ready to go.
yeah.
And then you have to tell them like you have to leave it how you found it because there's a class that comes in like right on top of them at the end, basically.
Right. Hmm.
Um, and you have to have a place to put all their prints. That's the hard part too, because they could go crazy with prints,
Yeah,
but then where do you put them to
right.
dry?
Exactly.
When you
Exactly.
have one class, I have 3 classes in a row this year,
Mm,
so that's important. Otherwise, if you stack them, everything becomes destroyed and stuck
I
to each
know.
other, and it's a mess. So there's so many logistical things that you have to consider. It's
Hmm.
not just, yeah, I want to try this with the kids and it'll be fun. It's all the logistical stuff that's involved also.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, can you share that packet you said if you could still find it?
Ooh. I will find it. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
Yes.
Thanks. Does anybody else have anything to share? I've been working on, I mean, I have a sketch here. I don't know if you can see it. It's in front of me here. There it goes. And I have a little rubber stamp that I've been working on a tiny little piece here. Um,
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
I love the shape of that too. It's very dynamic.
I have to carve it, so that's gonna take time. But anybody else want to share
I would
anything?
love to see what everybody's been working on. Again, if you want to just drop an image to the chat if you're not wanting to go on camera. Let's see, Sarah.
Oh, that's the
Yes,
mirror image.
lovely.
Yeah, that's the symmetry thing. Reminds me of the butterfly stuff in the
Yes.
kindergartens.
Yes, that is another fun one that I like to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, this is what I did because I said I would come up with a different design. I kind of liked stacking my design instead. You can see, I don't know, just the difference in prints here, but I had fun with it.
I love the carving part. It's very therapeutic.
It is. I've actually never carved with students.
No?
Never had the opportunity. No.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because we
I
only had the
haven't
30
done it in a
minutes.
while. I haven't done it in a while, but
Yeah. Anybody else like to share what they've created?
I actually went on a carving marathon this summer and I
Did
went
you?
crazy. I literally, I'll show you if
Yeah, let's
I don't know
see.
if you can see it, but I literally filled a shoebox of
Oh my gosh.
tiny, I keep disappearing
You keep disappearing.
because I have my background on. I filled a shoebox of stamps that I
Amazing.
made because I had so much fun.
Yeah.
The fun part for me was actually the carving. I
I
loved it.
agree.
Yeah.
Was that all from the summer?
Yes. It
Wow.
was actually all mostly August. I would do the drawings, come up with the ideas, and then just sit there and carve and carve and carve. And then I played with doing it with the ink. And then
Hmm.
I bought different kinds of stamp pads and experimented and just what and I'm a big fan of Wendy Sulganic and Fodder School. So I would make all these stamps and then I would fussy cut them out and then use them to put in journals that I make, that I hand make.
Neat.
I hand make the journals. So it's like
Oh,
just part of a huge process of art
yeah.
making stuff that I did.
Is printmaking your background?
It's a studio background that I found online. It's not my
Okay.
real studio.
Okay. Amazing.
My real studio is smaller and much messier than what's behind me.
Well, alrighty. Let's get back into it. So I am going to figure out where I left off and share my screen again.
There we go.
Great. Okay, so um hopefully everybody had a little bit of chance to just explore something, maybe that an idea they heard for the first time that might have clicked for what they can do for their students. As I mentioned in the courses, a big part of it is your discussion board. So what we did is we actually took a video from week 5 of the printmaking course, and if we were actually doing this in the studio, in the actual online course, this is what you could expect for week 5 of the printmaking course. So you would share your in-progress works, which is what we just did, but you'd share them online. So it would be sharing them over your discussion board, so just posting images. And then again, you're getting that feedback that is still so critical for a studio course. So you're getting that feedback from both your peers as well as your instructor. Your instructor is going to be very responsive and active in the discussion. So you'll be sharing your in-progress works. And then another question that came from this week in particular was making connections between teaching practices and printmaking techniques, which is a little bit of what I was sharing with you of kind of what I was doing. And then we are having a little bit more of a conversation of what you do in your classroom and making those connections. So again, that's just on a personal note, that's one of my favorite parts of the courses is you get to hear like all these different perspectives and all these different takes on so many different experiences for whatever these our teachers are teaching, whether it's in a different country, because we do teach students internationally, a different demographic, just different grade level even. We have a lot of students that are like transitioning grade levels and maybe this is their first time in high school and they need more ideas. So we'll help them with that. And then finally, you would have your assignment, right? So your assignments, as I mentioned before, they are all very relevant and they can be used directly in your classroom. So it's not going to be all this busy work. It's going to be something that's actually meaningful and possibly something that you needed anyway, but you actually get the credit for doing it in the course. So it's really nice. So for this particular week in the printmaking course, what you would be doing is choose to create a work using the repeat patterns and or alternative methods, which I think we had a lot of fun doing. And then you would present your process with a choice. So you have a choice of an annotated video with a written summary or a process board. And you'll see a choice in a lot of our studios or even a lot of our courses. I mean, we all learn in different ways and AOU recognizes that. So it's really nice that you have that choice of assignment at the end, at least for most of them. And then you can choose, what's going to be best for me to use later with my students? Do you need the video for your students anyway? Maybe that's the route you want to take. So that's what you can expect from a course. So now that you've seen how a course at AOU is structured, I just want to briefly kind of go over what our graduate degrees are. And then, like we discussed, you don't have to be enrolled in the degree program to take our courses. They are available to take individually just for continuing ed. So I'll go over that as well. If you'll switch, there we go. All right, so AOU offers 2 master's degrees. We have the Master of Arts in Art Education, and then we have the Master of Education in Curriculum and Instruction. The MA is 36 credits, and this is really ideal for anybody looking to kind of perfect their practice and mostly looking to stay within their art room. Maybe move on to teach at the college level, but for the most part, these students are staying in their classroom. A really nice perk of this is that you have 15 elective credits within those 36, and you can choose from a plethora of different courses. So we have a bunch of studios that you can choose from, like the printmaking course would absolutely count. Or we have a bunch of other like big ideas in our education. So the hot one right now is AI in our education. It's a new course. It seems to be really popular and kind of fulfilling the need that we are seeing today. Another one that's really popular is choice-based art education. A lot of art teachers are moving to choice-based, so you can kind of dive in deeper on that big topic. Now the MEd is structured just a little bit differently, so it's 33 credits instead of the 36. And this is mostly for art teachers that are kind of looking to explore more careers outside of the classroom, still within art education, but maybe they're looking to move up in like their district and be an instructional coach or a visual arts coordinator, one of those leadership roles. With this one, there's no elective credits. Instead, you have 12 credits that are aligned with the specialization that you choose. So we've got 3 specializations to choose from. So they are arts integration, inclusive practices for visual arts, and instructional leadership in our education. So whichever one you choose, all of your courses are predetermined for you. So there's no studios involved with this one. It's more of the curriculum and kind of theory behind the art teaching practice. So that's what you can expect from that degree. There we go. So just a couple of points to kind of highlight what we've been mentioning tonight. The AOU degree is really relevant. And I say that because I am a student and also I was an art teacher. So like I get it. Everything that you're learning in the courses is directly relevant for you. It's meaningful for you, and it's things that you're probably needing to do anyway. The entire course is written, designed, and taught by current or former art teachers. So again, like you are surrounded by your people. Like we all get it and we understand you and we're here to help support you and be successful. A hallmark of our degree is that it's very, very flexible and coursework is 100% online. All of our courses are 100% online and asynchronous. You just have to adhere to those weekly due dates that I explained earlier, but otherwise you log in when it works best for you and your schedule. So a lot of teachers are balancing these crazy schedules. I know, I've been there, and they have other priorities, like they have families, they have all these after-school activities, and they're juggling a lot. So they're able to figure out how to kind of navigate that and fit the coursework in on their own time. And then another thing that I absolutely love is that they connect with supportive faculty and art teachers around the globe. Like I said, you'll hear perspectives that maybe you hadn't considered before. You'll see and listen to teachers from different walks of life, and it's really interesting to hear everyone's take. And even teachers that have been teaching for 4 years are in a program and have heard a new perspective that they haven't heard before. So you're constantly learning. There's just so much to absorb and take in. Finally, so let's just quickly talk about the cost and tuition, because I know that's going to be a big question at the end. AOU uses a per credit tuition model. So the courses are $425 per credit, and a typical course is going to be 3 credits. So you're looking at $1275 per course. I know that sounds like a big number right off the bat. So one thing that students enjoy is that they can pre-register for a course and then make payments until their tuition is due. So tuition is due by the course start date. So if you were to register today for a course that starts in March, you don't have to pay anything today. You can split up until March or pay it all upfront in March. So you can really break it up so it's not this huge payment kind of hanging over your head. But that's what a lot of students enjoy about our pay by per credit tuition model. All in for the MA, you're looking at about 16,000. That includes all fees. We really don't have that many fees, but it includes everything. And then for the MEd, you're looking at about 14. Comparatively speaking, it's about a third of the cost of typical comparable programs. I was just looking earlier at some programs in New York specifically, and I was seeing like 24 per semester. So ours is significantly more affordable and lower than that. Like I mentioned, a really exciting part too is that you don't have to be enrolled in a degree program to take a course. You have over 40 courses to choose from. So if you want to just take a course for your own continuing education, that is absolutely an option. If you are looking for a salary differential or you're thinking about your license renewal or license advancement, a lot of students are using AOU coursework for those goals. And again, you'd be working with me. I'd be your student coach, and I'd make sure that those goals are being met with our coursework. I wouldn't allow you to take our courses if they weren't going to help meet your goals. I'm very thorough about that. Or some students really enjoy just taking a course, kind of dipping their toes in and seeing how a course goes before they commit to an entire degree program. So you can transfer courses into the program later if you decide to join the MA or the MEd later. Again, you'd work with me. So if I knew that that is a goal that you might have in mind, I'd make sure you're taking a course that would transfer over and let you know about the transfer credit policy. So I'd work with you directly on that. We've got some one credit course options as well. The printmaking course in most of our other studios are 3 credits, but we do have some exciting 1 credit courses. So if you're thinking about just taking a course and see how it goes, they're 3 weeks long, so it's not too much of your time. You'll get the 1 graduate credit and you'll see how a course works. One that we're really excited about is Bookmaking Basics, which is going to be in December. So if you're looking for a 1 credit course or you just want to kind of explore bookmaking a little bit more, I would encourage you to explore that syllabus. You can find the syllabus on our website and see everything that you'd be learning. We're really excited about that one. We also have digital illustration coming up in April. So if you're thinking about maybe your digital needs, think about that course as well. That's coming up later in the spring. With that being said, I'd love to open it up for some questions because I know I just talked your ear off. So, what didn't I cover? What are you thinking about? Give me all your good questions.
Anybody? Nobody wants to talk.
One thing I didn't talk about, but may have a question about it. We are fully accredited. We are accredited institutionally by the DEAC, and it works well in the state of New York. New York actually just changed their mind on that this year. So up until this year, I was kind of turning my New York people away because they wanted different accreditation, but this year it works well. I've had plenty of students find success in advancing their license from an initial to professional with an AOU degree. And then I even found a pathway for if anybody needs an initial license. I found one that actually AOU coursework can help you with most of it. We can't fulfill everything. We can't promise you licensure, but I did find a pathway that seems to work pretty well to help fulfill most of those needs. So if you need any of that, definitely let me know. I can help you.
Is everybody in here from New York or outside of New York? Can you put it in the chat where you guys are from?
Yeah, let me know.
That would be helpful. Long Island, great. New York City, Long Island,
Fabulous.
Long Island, Hudson Valley, Hicksville High School. Angela, your voice sounded familiar to me. I don't know if I know you. Maybe I do.
Wait, I'll put my camera on. Well, can you wait? Can you?
Hi.
I can sort of
Hi.
see.
Oh, can you? Oh, it's dark.
It's a little dark, but we
I'm
can see
sorry.
you.
I'm like in the office.
No,
I'm
thanks for your
I'm
camera.
part of the like I've done NISADA and the and I always go to the conference. I can't go to the conference this year, but is
I've
that why maybe
probably seen you at one of the
at one of the things that are
millions of
going on? This
things.
is
Yeah,
terrible
yeah,
lighting
yeah.
in here.
Albany. Okay, okay. So you
Albany
guys
and
are
Binghamton.
mostly New York.
Yeah, cool.
I don't know if Long Island is part of the Department of Education. I don't think so. Your
No, the DOE is mainly the city.
is new. Okay. I
Yeah.
just found out today that Art of Ed University is now a Department of Ed vendor.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it just happened. They've been working on it for a really long time and they just got accepted to be a vendor and got a whole number and all that stuff. So, if anybody in here is a New York City teacher with me, um, you can now purchase packages or curriculum or whatever through Shop DOE or however you purchase stuff through the city as a vendor. Which I'm going to be working out another session with my rep through this to introduce everybody to how that works out. So maybe on Long Island, they can also sponsor you guys to purchase curriculum materials or coursework or whatever if they'll pay for it. I don't know how that works. I'm interested to know how this works, although after 22 years, it's a little late in the game, but whatever. It doesn't
Oh,
hurt.
Lindsay.
Mary Beth, my partner and in crime here, can you repost the link for the CTLE form for people to fill out so they get their credit or their certificate or whatever they need, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having technical difficulties. I can't get the sheet to paste into the link.
It's
Just
okay.
give me a few minutes.
No problem. We're all having that kind of a thing, technology. It's like one of those things you can't live with it and you can't do without it anymore.
Oh, I know.
Last week, I think we were having some issues also. It's okay. It happens. Patience.
Mm.
There we go. Should be good now.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yes, so I will be doing a session to talk about all of that. This was informative. I love all the stuff that you have. I just there used to be more free available resources, and now everything is like, please pay us this much money for this
Not everything.
little
Not
form,
everything.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
Well, it started as a blog, so
Yes.
it was free to the public and then kind of grew into a business. So understandably so.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's how it happened. But there are plenty of free resources still.
Yes.
So look on the website. Speaking of free resources,
Mhm.
if you would like, I highly recommend those resources that I shared with you, as well as the video, as well as a few other things that I'm going to link. Go ahead and either scan the QR code, or I will also post a link in the chat. And then I will be sending you those resources directly. I can't promise you it's going to happen tonight, but I'm going to do my best to do it by tomorrow. So you will get those resources that I shared, those great PDFs, and a few other things, as well as that demonstration video, so you can reference it later. I hope
Great.
that was the right form.
If you send it to me and then you guys email me your interest, I will forward you whatever I get from Betsy. I will keep it with my files from. Oh, there's a link in the
Yep.
chat. There you go.
There's a link.
Okay, great.
Let me know if it gives you any trouble. Hopefully it doesn't.
Let me see. Submit. Please complete all fields. Oh, school district. 20. When it says school district, if I just put a number, is it gonna know New York City or?
It should. Let's try it.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Let's try it.
It says we'll be in touch soon.
Okay,
And
great.
it says download the master's view book.
Yeah, so it'll just give you basically what I've shared with you tonight. More information about our degree programs. Feel free to download it or not, but I'm going to email you directly with those links. So like I said, likely won't happen tonight, but I'm going to try to get to that tomorrow as soon as I can. So you'll get all of those amazing resources that I shared, plus a few extras.
So the resources that you showed us, those 3 sheets, are not in the QR code thingy?
They will, well, I'm going to email them to you.
Got it. Okay. So that's separate.
Yeah, that's just how they set it up. I wish it could have just gone straight to you, but
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's how they get us for the mailing list.
Feel free to unsubscribe if you need to, but if you have any other questions, you'll have my direct email after that as well. So again, like feel free to ignore if you want after you get the resources, or if you have any other questions, reach out to me directly. I do work with degree applicants in New York, so you'd be working with me, or if you want to just take a course or two, you'd be working with me anyway. So I am your go-to person for that.
Perfect.
Oh no. Does it work on your phone, Rebecca? Can you scan the QR code?
Oh,
Oh, did
she
you get
says
it?
never mind.
Did you get it? Okay, great.
She said never
Is
mind.
anybody else having issues?
Marita
Let me
says she
know.
can't edit documents, but she'll. Okay, she was talking to Mary Beth. All right.
Okay.
I think we're good. So this was
Oh.
informative, and I'm just addicted to printmaking. I just love it.
Well, I'm glad I chose that one then.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I had a lot of different studios to choose from, and it was hard to kind of narrow down what would be maybe the most accessible in this environment. And yeah, I'm glad we chose one printmaking.
I was actually considering doing a printmaking workshop for election day.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter what I was thinking of doing, it's like something else was going on, or I couldn't get it coordinated, and I'm just sitting here like, and with being sick the past week, I'm like, you know what? I'll just be one of the masses that day and let somebody else run it, and I'll do printmaking as a regular workshop instead of for the election
There you
day
go.
stuff. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. This way is more control and not so much of the citywide craziness that happens that day. So
For sure. Yeah, I can only imagine. Are you closed that day?
there's no kids
Okay.
and we have to report remotely.
Okay.
So we're working but
hmm
from home.
hmm
And so we're gonna be in PD basically in our pajamas all day long.
Not too bad. Not a bad gig.
It's not horrible. I was hoping to do something that was more, because, as art teachers, when you get stuck doing, the same PD with the whole rest of your school. It has nothing to do with what we do in our own practice. And
Right.
so we kind of like bored out of our minds and
I
don't
know.
want to be there. So I was
Mhm.
trying to do something a little more exciting and it just wasn't working out. But I'll be like the kids and put my camera on black and go make art in my studio for the
There
day
you
while
go.
I'm listening to
There you
nonsense.
go.
And
Yep. Yep.
but you didn't hear me say it,
No, not at all.
because we're all thinking the same thing, right, girls?
I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Got to do what we got to do. That's all.
Yeah.
But Betsy, thank you so much for this. I'm sure that we will cross paths again, and I'm going to be in touch with Sean also on the other uh topic of the DOE connection now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Very exciting.
yeah, he's excited. I just haven't had a chance to email him back.
Mhm.
But it's going to be good for a lot of teachers who need to get their master's degrees, who are just like newbies who are still coming in with their bachelor's and have to get the master's degree so they can
Yep.
keep doing. And you have a lot of great options. And I almost wish I was at the beginning, almost
Almost.
almost wish, not necessarily the way things are right now, but
Yeah.
the offerings are
Mhm.
exciting.
Mhm.
And only because I love learning. I want to be the learner. I don't necessarily I want to be teaching people who want to be learning, but I also want to be learning with them. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are so many new ways of learning that's what's exciting to me. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing what you do, for offering the newbies all these great opportunities and options. Um, and God give them strength.
I know. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all that you do. You provide this amazing resource for teachers, and it's such a great community. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of it tonight. It was really nice.
Well, we are grateful for you sharing your time and your expertise and your product. Thank you so much. And everybody else, be on the lookout for new sessions coming. We have sock puppets coming in November,
Have
which
fun.
is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to be doing a sewing session. I have to pick a date, but that's going to be fun as well. So uh,
That's great.
have a wonderful weekend. Everybody stay healthy or get healthy and stay cool, everyone.
Feel
Good
better.
night. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Good
night.
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.